Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of my Fundamentals of the LSAT course. Today I wanted to go over some definitions with you before we got into the grammar of logic and started to symbolize arguments. Today we're going to discuss arguments and what it means for an argument to be valid or sound. Knowing these will help you to analyze the strength of arguments on the LSAT and notice assumptions they will be making. First, let's start out with what an argument is. An argument is something that consists of premises and a conclusion. Premises are the reasons why you should accept a conclusion, while conclusions are what are supported by the premises. Conclusions are also what are supposed to be accepted at the end of the argument. The goal of an argument is to persuade or convince you of the conclusion. Now that we know that arguments consist of premises and conclusions, how do we assess arguments? This is where concepts like validity and soundness come in. So let's start by defining validity. Validity actually has two definitions that mean the same thing. Definition 1 is an argument is valid if and only if it is necessary that if all its premises are true, then its conclusion is true. Definition 2 is an argument is valid if and only if it is impossible for all the premises to be true while the conclusion is false. I like to think of validity as if we were to assume all the premises were true, would the conclusion be true? If yes, then the argument is valid. If no, then it is invalid. Let's look at a couple of examples and I'll show you what I mean. So here's an example of a valid argument. All trucks have wheels. This is a truck. This truck has wheels. So if we take a look at premise 1 and premise 2, all trucks have wheels and this is a truck, and we assume these to be true. We don't try and question these premises at all. Would the conclusion be true? In this case, yes. Given that all trucks have wheels and that this is a truck, this truck has to have wheels. There's no other option. So let's take a look at an example of an invalid argument. In this case, we've got all trucks have wheels. My bike has wheels. My bike is a truck. In this case, if we take premise 1 and premise 2, all trucks have wheels and my bike have wheels, and we accept them as true. Like, sure, all trucks have wheels and my bike has wheels. Sure, that could be true. But it isn't necessarily true that my bike is a truck, because all sorts of things have wheels. ATVs have wheels. Cars have wheels. Just because all trucks have wheels and my bike has wheels doesn't make my bike a truck. So this argument looks silly, but it isn't always so glaringly obvious that an argument is invalid. You'll see tons of invalid arguments on the LSAT, and they won't be this obvious. So now that we have validity out of the way, let's look at soundness. Soundness is defined as an argument is sound if and only if it is valid and all of its premises are actually true. So soundness is like validity, except it has stricter requirements. We can no longer assume that the premises are true. They actually have to be true. So let's take another look at our valid argument and see if it is sound. Again, we've got all trucks have wheels. This is a truck. And this truck has wheels. But are these premises all actually true? I'm not sure. For instance, we can question premise 1 by asking, can something be a truck and not have wheels? For example, if I took all the tires off my truck, would it still be a truck? And we can also question premise 2 by asking if whatever I'm referring to is actually a truck. For example, if I say this is a truck and I show you a picture of a boat, it wouldn't actually be a truck. So we can question premise 1 and premise 2, and if we decide that either of these premises aren't necessarily true, then this argument is not sound. So, validity and soundness are important concepts to keep in the back of your mind while studying the LSAT. They'll help you notice assumptions that arguments are making. Find the conclusion in the argument and look at the support that's given for it. Will the conclusion have to be true? Does the support have to be true? If you answer no to either one of these questions, the argument is flawed in some way. Now that we've discussed validity and soundness, we'll move on in the next episode to actually starting to symbolize arguments.